The Mattaponi tribe has owned reservation property since colonial times, making it one of just 2 Virginia Indian tribes in the Commonwealth of Virginia. The reservation, which runs along the Mattaponi River's edges close to West Point, Virginia, is home to the Greater Mattaponi Indian Tribe and is located in King William County. In the late 16th century, Chief Powhatan inherited 6 tribes, including the Mattaponi. Like other Powhatan chiefdom members, the tribe spoke an Algonquian language. When the English arrived and established Jamestown in 1607, the Powhatan Supreme Chiefdom included more than 30 tribes. A Mattaponi band has also long resided beyond the reserve in Adamstown, an unincorporated hamlet on the upper reaches of the Mattaponi River. Records from the 17th century have classified this as Indian land. This Upper Mattaponi tribe of Adamstown became a recognized organization in 1921. They hold 32 acres, 130,000 square meters, of property in Hanover County and have been acknowledged as a tribe by the Commonwealth of Virginia. On January 12, 2018, the Thomasina E. Jordan Indian Tribes of Virginia Federal Recognition Act of 2017 was passed, granting the Upper Mattaponi tribe federal status. The federally recognized Pamunkey Indians are the ancestors of the Mattaponi Indians. The Pamunkey and Mattaponi have a common cultural heritage and are descended from the same historical governmental entity. Archaeologists estimate that the region that is now Virginia has been inhabited for up to 15,000 years by indigenous peoples from various cultures. The 14th and 15th centuries are said to have seen the formation of the historic tribes. The many tribes spoke 3 different languages: Iroquoian in general in the backcountry and to the north, Siouan in the middle region and Piedmont, and Algonquian along the coast and in the tidewater. Language groupings served as the foundation for common identities and cultures. The English adventurer John Smith named the Mattaponi in 1607 after noticing that they lived along the Mattaponi River. With 140 warriors, according to William Strachey's estimation, the tribe probably had 450 members. The Mattaponi escaped their territory along the Mattaponi River during the Second Anglo-Powhatan War, 1644 to 1646, and sought safety in the hills around Piscataway Creek. As fighting ceased, the tribe slowly made its way back to their ancestral lands. The first treaty between the Powhatan tribes and the English was made in 1646, following the end of the Anglo-Powhatan War. The English classified the tribes as tributaries by treaty, and they granted reserves to a number of them in return for an annual tribute payment of game and fish. The King and Mattaponi tribe leaders signed peace contracts with the justices of Old Rappahannock County and the Court of Rappahannock County in 1656 to 1657. Tribal people were to have the same civil rights and legal protections as Englishmen. During Bacon's Rebellion, Nathaniel Bacon's Colonial militia assaulted a number of innocent tribes, including the Mattaponi. Although there were other reasons for the uprising, historians think Bacon had a personal animosity with Governor Sir William Berkeley. Other factors were a shrinking tobacco market, economic issues, increased rivalry from North Carolina and Maryland, a more constrained English market, and higher costs from English-made goods, mercantilism. Other nearby Virginia tribes' attacks and ongoing tensions provided Bacon and his supporters with a scapegoat to vent their resentment. On May 29, 1677, the Treaty of Middle Plantation was signed following the conclusion of the war. On behalf of a number of tribes, including the Mattaponi, Kakaquesky, Werowansqua of the Pamunkey, signed the pact. Queen of the Pamunkey, as the English called her, she had been Totopotomoy's widow when he died in 1656. While fighting for the English, he was slain. A period of peace between the English and the Virginia Indians was brought about by the pact. The Treaty of 1677 was signed by more tribe chiefs than the one inked over 30 years before. In addition to adding the Siouan and Iroquoian tribes as tributary Indians of the colonial administration, it reaffirmed the yearly tribute payments. More reserve grounds were created for the tribes by the government, but in exchange, they had to admit that they and their peoples were subjects of the King of England. It is unknown how the tribes felt about this claim. The yearly tribute payment required by the treaties of 1646 and 1677 has been provided by the Mattaponi and Pamunkey tribes to the state, the colony's successor. The Mattaponi, Pamunkey, and Chickahominy tribes participated in a treaty meeting at Albany, New York in 1685. The colonial rulers of Virginia and New York made an effort to put a stop to the conflicts between Southern tribes and the Iroquois. Virginia, encompassing the Shenandoah and Ohio River basins, had been regularly invaded by the Iroquois. Tribes were on high alert as settlers became entangled in the conflict. Peaceful colonial settlement in the backcountry was impeded by the conflict. During the 17th and 18th centuries, the Mattaponi remained on their reservation. According to a Baptist missionary who worked with the tribe in the 18th century, colonists encroached on native land during that time. In 1781, Thomas Jefferson, the governor at the time, also saw that settlers were encroaching on Native American territory. The Mattaponi have maintained a separate tribal government from the Powhatan Authority throughout their history. The tribe belonged to that important chiefdom. When local authorities and people attempted to seize their property and deny their status as a tribe, the Mattaponi steadfastly defended the tribe and its territory. The Mattaponi thwarted the local government's effort in 1812 to seize an acre of property for a dam. The so-called Gregory Petition claimed in 1843 that the Mattaponi and Pamunkey were no longer Indians. Additionally, this attempt to drive the Pamunkey and Mattaponi off their territories was unsuccessful. The historian Henry Howe noted that the Pamunkey and the Mattaponi were two Indian tribes residing in King William County at around the same period. Over the years, many Mattaponi joined the Pamunkey Baptist Church, which was established in 1865. The Mattaponi tribe had its own tribal authority throughout the 1800s. The governor received a list of the Mattaponi tribe's leaders, headmen, and members in 1868. Among the tribal members listed were Nancy Franklin, Claiborne Key, Austin Key, Jane O, Jonathan Anderson Key, Henry Major, Elston Major, Elwood Major, Lee Franklin Major, Coley Major, Mary Major, Parkey Major, John Major, Park Farley Tupence, Elizabeth Tupence, Robert Tupence, Emmeline Tupence, Laura Tupence, Mary Catherine Tupence, James C. Tupence, and Lucy J. Tupence. The chief was identified as Elston Major. Tribal trustees William J. Trimmer and Hardin Littlepage signed the list. Tribal members now trace their ancestry back to those on the list. Up until 1894, the Commonwealth of Virginia recognized the Pamunkey and Mattaponi tribes as a single administrative unit, since they were the final two tribes to operate as part of the Powhatan chiefdom. In that year, the Mattaponi officially broke away from the Powhatan chiefdom, which was governed by Pamunkey. In response, the General Parliament of the Commonwealth appointed 5 trustees to the Mattaponi tribe in 1894. Similar to the Pamunkey tribe, the Mattaponi were free from some county and municipal taxes. The Mattaponi tribe, for their part, set up a school on their territory and formed statutes for its governance. The Commonwealth's governors and attorneys general have acknowledged the Mattaponi tribe and its reserve on several occasions over the 20th century. Additionally, the Mattaponi tribe has been mentioned several times in academic journals and press reports. The Mattaponi Tribal Council, the tribe's traditional government, is in charge of running the reservation's operations. It manages tribal property, resolves internal conflicts, assigns plots for members' use, and safeguards the Mattaponi tribe's interests in dealings with the federal, state, and local governments. It upholds its responsibilities under the 1677 Treaty of Middle Plantation by honoring the Commonwealth of Virginia's governor every year. A group of people known as the Upper Mattaponi tribe lived along the Upper Mattaponi River. They were centered on the Adams family and were not part of the reserve. James Adams, who served as a translator between the English and the Mattaponi from 1702 until 1727, was probably their originator. Adamstown was the name given to the village in the 19th century. It wasn't until 1921 that the Upper Mattaponi tribe received independent status. Nonetheless, this tribe's members are descended from a group of Indians who resided in the vicinity of Passonkak in the 18th century. The clan became known as the Upper Mattaponi tribe in 1921, and Virginia has acknowledged them. The tribe struggled to preserve its culture and identity in the 1920s, despite receiving formal recognition. Interracial marriage was outlawed in Virginia by the Racial Integrity Act of 1924. In an attempt to repress African Americans, the ensuing law mandated racial identification on marriage and birth certificates. Additionally, many Upper Mattapony were classed as Black in official documents due to their mixed ethnicity. People's cultural identities were disregarded during the time. As a result, incorrect records interrupted their continuity as a people. The Indian View Baptist Church, the center of their religious community, was constructed by the Upper Mattapony in 1942. The Sharon Indian School is next door. In 1917, the first one-room school was constructed. Prior to then, state and colonial governments had long associated Mattapony youngsters with the Pamunkey, with whom they received their education. In 1952, a building with 8 rooms took the place of the school. When formal state racial segregation in public schools ended in the 1960s, it closed. In 1987, the state gave the school back to the tribe for usage and control. It serves as a community center currently. The Upper Mattapony tribe acquired its first formal tribe housing unit in Central Garage, Virginia, in January 2022. Molly Holmes Adams, a member of the Upper Mattapony tribe, was recognized as one of Virginia's Women in History for 2010.